Welcome to Have You Heard with Heather Darling. I'm Heather Darling, and today's guest is Mayor Eric Wilsusen of Jefferson Township. Prior to becoming mayor of Jefferson, Eric was the deputy chief of police in Jefferson. He is a lifelong 58-year resident of Jefferson Township. He retired in 2016 as the deputy police chief in Jefferson Township Police Department after serving for 31 years. He currently works for the Roman Catholic Diocese of Paterson as Director of Child and Youth Protection. Eric is currently serving his second four-year term as mayor, and he's been actively involved, enjoying volunteering and serving in many aspects of the community all of his adult life, including Lake Shawnee Club, the Lake Apacon Commission, Our Lady of the Star Roman Catholic Church, Morris Prevention is Key, Jefferson Township Fire Department 2, Fire Company 2, where he has been a past chief and a life member, Jefferson Township High School Girls Soccer Booster Club, Jefferson Township High School PTSA, Jefferson Youth Soccer, and Eric has been the proud recipient of numerous community recognition awards, including the Mayor's Citizen of the Year Award in 2014. Welcome to the show, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Heather. Thanks for having me.
So your town features woods, parks, several lakes, golf courses, businesses, residences. How many square miles are in Jefferson Township?
So we're approximately 42 square miles, located in the northwest corner of New Jersey and Morris County, surrounded by beautiful woods and lakes and streams and hills and valleys. It's a beautiful part of New Jersey up here.
Yes, it is, indeed. I love recreating in your town. How many lakes do you have there?
Quite a few lakes. We have many smaller lakes. Lake Shawnee, which I'm a proud member and president of the Lake Shawnee Club. Been there for my entire life. We have Lake Winona, Longwood Lake, Lake Swannanoa, Lake Stockholm, which we share partially with Hardiston Township in Sussex County, and White Rock Lake, Cozy Lake, and we also have the state's largest lake, Lake Apacon, which has numerous beach clubs that surround Lake Apacon itself. So we're definitely a lake community up here in Jefferson Township.
Shameless plug for a friend of ours. You live in Lake Shawnee because Gatwin's is right there at the entrance, and you can walk in and out.
You can't beat it. Best place. It's the Cheers of Jefferson Township. You will find all the locals there. I know you frequent it, and Grassi, our county clerk, and many of our elected officials like to frequent Gatwin's. You can never go wrong with Gatwin's. It's always a good meal and always good friends. Absolutely.
Good friends, good steamers, 100%. So what does Lake Apacon mean to your community?
So Lake Apacon being the state's largest lake, we share that shoreline with four other municipalities, Jefferson being one. The others are Mount Arlington, Roxbury, and Hopakon Borough, which is in Sussex County. So it's split between four towns and two counties. It is the biggest economic engine that we have here in this area. Sadly, it doesn't get a lot of tourism dollars. It is a state-owned lake, but it doesn't get quite the tourism power that the Jersey Shore gets. It's quite interesting. I heard on New Jersey 1015, Dennis and Judy Dennis was talking about Lake Apacon. I was on my way to to a chiropractor appointment, and I said, I got to call in. They're talking about Lake Apacon. Nobody ever talks about Lake Apacon. And we got to do a little plug for Lake Apacon. In the summertime especially, it's just a huge economic driver between all the restaurants and people that come to frequent the lake. So it definitely is very important to the area, not only Jefferson Township, but to the entire area.
How many visitors come to the lake on an annual basis? I know you can't park in the state park on a weekend. You could forget about it.
Yeah, the Lake Apacon Commission, which I'm a member of, is looking to do an economic study. There's been all kinds of estimates, but the best estimate that we have is on a weekend, pretty much we can expect between 2,000 and 2,500 boats on Lake Apacon, which is huge. I mean, each boat holds a number of people. And that's just the people who are coming here to actually powerboat. Between sailing and our restaurants and numerous lake activities that we have, and not even including the Opakon State Park, which is the only public beach in Roxbury Township. It is the only public beach on Lake Opakon. We could easily have 10,000 people a weekend here without blinking an eye.
Just before COVID hit and small businesses in our state were vastly impacted, Lake Hopatcong suffered from a harmful algal bloom. And this went on for a couple of years. The first was worse. And really the lake was kind of shut down and businesses were sort of closed out at that time. What impact did HAB, followed immediately by COVID, have on the economy in Jefferson?
So the harmful algal bloom in 2019 was definitely devastating to the lake. It was the first time, again, being a lifelong resident, long before I was mayor, I don't ever remember us having a situation where we had to, shut down Lake Hopatcong for any reason. So although harmful algal blooms are not new to, lakes, especially freshwater lakes throughout, the world, this was something new to us and to Lake Hopatcong, it really drew a lot of concern from the business community, our residents. People were not educated enough to know what a harmful algal bloom could do. You hear harmful algal bloom, you hear cyanotoxins, and it really people were not educated enough to know what that was about. And it's not the harmful algal bloom itself. It's the cyanotoxins that sometimes occur as a result of a harmful algal bloom. So we as municipalities, county government, state government with New Jersey DEP, and of course the Lake Hopatcong Commission really had to educate people what this all meant. And then to calm some people down. But the lake initially did get shut down. It was a huge concern, obviously, to our restaurant owners, marina owners, to have it shut down for an extended period of time. But I think once it was better understood what this meant at the time, and that it was really not, it didn't rise to the level of where cyanotoxins were present, it calmed a lot of fears. And since that time, the 4 lake mayors, the DEP, county government, all have been working together tremendously to better communicate with the public, to better communicate with everybody about what this means. And knock on wood, we've only had a few minor algal blooms since that time. So, but it definitely had an impact initially, and thank God we were able to weather that.
Mayor, you're very involved in your town's economic development. How many businesses are there in Jefferson Township?
So one of the challenges that I came into as mayor a little over 4 years ago now was, Jefferson's, as we said, 42 square miles, hills and valleys, tons of open space. We not only have our own open space that the township has purchased. We have Newark Watershed. We have the largest holdings of county parkland within our borders. Our biggest challenge was economics, was sustaining the businesses we had and trying to bring in growth. We're 80% in the Highlands Preservation Area. It's posed a huge challenge for us, and I had to find ways in which to sustain the businesses we had and try to bring in new business to create that business friendly climate for to make sure that we had that climate present here. So realizing that I'm not the smartest person in the room, I know there's people out there in the business world that have that knowledge. I formed an economic development committee within the first 6 months of taking office, and to help advise me to work with our business communities. What can we do better? How can we generate the growth with what we have? We have to work with what we have currently. We really can't build anything more. And how do we support the businesses that are here with us now? And we work collaboratively with our Chamber of Commerce, and it's been a great partnership. It's worked out well. I think Jefferson is gaining a reputation of being a business-friendly place to come and to do business. That we're open for business, and we want to work with everybody to do better for our business community here in the town.
Do you think that the town would be better served with more businesses?
Be better served
by having more businesses?
Absolutely. I mean, just having the lake here with us. I mean, again, two things that we have going for us. We have, like I said, many lakes, and we have open space. One of the other things that I did as a result, or one of the things that came out of economic development with our committee was a trail plan. We have a lot of open space to do biking, hiking, walking. We formed a trails committee. We were able to get a $1 million private donation to help us construct those trails. So again, the idea was to focus on ecotourism. So if we can bring more people to Jefferson Township and that are coming to utilize the lake and all the resources and activities that it has to offer, not only that, we have thousands upon thousands of acres of open space that people can come utilize. They can walk, they can bike, they can hike, and we're putting together a marketing plan to go with it, so that when they're done with their bike or their hike or whatever the case may be, we're going to have kiosks and marketing boards and stuff. They can take a picture of a QR code, and they can go to Gatlin's, and they can go to the Windlass, they can go to the many different restaurants that we have to offer. And that will help to also generate some more growth. And again, we have the Route 15 corridor on the Lake Hopatcong side. We have the Berkshire Valley corridor on the Oak Ridge side. And we hope that, all of this put together over time will, again, generate new business that will want to come, take advantage of that, and help to support the current businesses that have been here for many years that deserve our support. So I think it's going to be a win-win for all as we move forward.
Eric, we're already at that point in the show where we have to take a quick commercial break. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back with more with Mayor Eric Wilsusen and Jefferson Township. Have you heard? Join me, Heather Darling, weekly for a different spin on politics, business, law, and other key issues you will not want to miss right here on RVN TV.
Hi, my name is Janice Kovach, Mayor for the town of Clinton and new host of My Town. Do you ever wonder how something takes place in your town? Do you have questions about how to find out what's happening? Questions about the budget? We've got the answers for you. I'm going to be talking to government officials and elected officials, getting those questions answered. Catch us every Tuesday and Friday at 1:30 on RVN Television.
Welcome. I'm Barry Lefkowitz. I'm your host on New Perspectives on RVN TV. I come to you each week with issues and topics that you will generally find in the news. And if you're looking to be able to get caught up and know what's going on, then New Perspectives is the show for you on RVN TV. Look forward to having you.
Welcome back to Have You Heard with Heather Darling and today's guest, Mayor Eric Wilsusen. Eric, when we went on break, you were talking about the features in Jefferson as it pertains to business, and you mentioned some restrictions. What kind of restrictions are there based on the Highlands Act and other legislation? How is that impacting Jefferson?
Well, probably the greatest challenge I have in our community and many communities that were placed into the Highlands Preservation, into the Highlands Act, and as a result of that, there's two types of areas within the Highlands. It's either a planning area or a preservation area. So if you're in a planning area, you're allowed to pretty much develop as you would, prior to the act in 2004. But if you're in the preservation area, you're extremely limited as to what it is you can and cannot build. And basically, if you own, any property within our borders, you can build a single family home. That's about it. No commercial development. So it has completely restricted, again, having 42 square miles at your disposal. And not that I would like to see everything paved over and warehouses and things of that nature, but I think every municipality has to have an ability to grow in some manner, to, basically keep your, taxes in check without being able to generate new ratables. The cost of government, local government, falls on the people who live here. And, if nothing is growing, then the people that are feeling the impact and the increase in taxes is that local resident, is that local business. So the Highlands Act is definitely, I don't think anybody thought in 2004 the economic impact that it was going to have. The idea was to preserve water, which I'm all for. Absolutely, we all want to preserve water. Jersey's very dense, but they took away our ability to completely do anything. West Milford, our neighboring town's 100% within the Highlands Preservation Area. I don't know how they're doing it, but it has definitely had an impact that we're seeing now. As we strike budgets each and every year, between fixed costs, contracts, pensions, benefits, salaries, I'm $1 million before I even start. Our school system has lost $8 million in the state funding. Our population has decreased over the last 10 years from the last census. Our school population is decreasing. So that's all a direct impact of the Highlands Act from 2004. And we're trying to find the best, think outside the box to do what we can do to overcome that.
Mayor, how does Picatinny Arsenal Military Base impact Jefferson Township?
So Picatinny is the area's largest employer. We economically it impacts us because there's a large workforce there. With the base realignment over the last couple of years, luckily Picatinny was saved. They moved a lot of different operations from all over the country here now, so that's been wonderful for employment opportunities, which of course people living here are able to utilize. Take advantage of the businesses that we have in town, as well as our other area businesses, just not Jefferson Township. It impacts a pretty wide area of Sussex, Morris County. But they're a good neighbor. They do a lot of testing there. If you live in Jefferson or the surrounding areas, you'll from time to time hear the booms coming off the base. They're testing some of their ammunition. The place rattles a little bit, and the phone calls start coming in. And the best line I ever heard from an employee at Picatinny while we were there watching some testing at one point was they call it the sounds of freedom. So when people are annoyed by the noise coming off the base, we tell them it's just the sounds of freedom. But they've been a good neighbor, and we appreciate having them next door. They're pretty much within the borders of Jefferson and Rockaway Township, so we share that border with them.
Mayor, we talked about the lake, but some of Jefferson's wildlife areas feature parks that have camping, hiking, things along those lines. How many people would you say visit Jefferson each year for camping and hiking, which I guess is more of a year-round?
Yeah, I mean, easily thousands come here just for the Malin-Dickinson Reservation, part of the Morris County park system. As I mentioned earlier, we have some of the largest holdings of parkland within our borders, more than any other community within Morris County. And through the Malin-Dickinson Reservation, they have a picnic area, they have a camping area, they have a tent area, they have hiking areas. It's an extensive trail system as well that we're going to be taking advantage of as well through our trail program. Former Mayor Russ Felter, my predecessor, is on the park commission, an employee of the park commission, and he heads up my trail program. He's in charge of trail acquisition for Morris County, and together we're working to come up with other plans. We want to do some bike tracks and things like that within the reservation. Again, all to generate some ecotourism for the area. So yeah, it's great to have that resource here in our community, and the county's been a good partner in that as well.
Mayor, you mentioned earlier some of the roads that go through. You have 15, you have 23, you have Berkshire Valley, main corridors that bring a lot of traffic, but as you indicated, each of those roads kind of borders the certain areas of the town. They kind of enclose it, encapsulate it, and each one has business districts along it. Are there any plans, or is there even a possibility with the Highlands Act for a centralized Jefferson business district, or given your 42-mile geography, would that not make sense given the fact that you've got Highlands and that you have people so spread out, you may not be properly serving all of the community needs that way?
So Jefferson Township, just geographically, the way that we're kind of like a rectangle. And our sides of town, what we call the Route 15 corridor and the Route 23 corridor, are kind of geographically separated by a lot of this open space this beautiful open space that we have. Many people don't know this, but we have the second highest point in New Jersey, next to High Point. And here in Morris County. And so a lot of hills and valleys in between both of those corridors, between Route 15 and Route 23. So while it would be great to have a downtown, for instance, like a Denville or a Wharton and things of that nature, I'm envious of some of those towns that have these beautiful downtown centers and things like that. Unfortunately, we would probably never see that. Even if the Highlands wasn't an issue, we would never see such a thing in Jefferson, just because it really is so geographically separated, and because of the distance between both sides of town. When I grew up here as a young boy and going to school here, it was kind of the joke between, you lived in Lake Apacon or you lived in Milton and Oak Ridge. The two sides shall never meet, and it was practically like living in two different towns. You were if you lived in Route 15, you would travel off to the Rockaway Mall because that was close. If you lived in Route 23 over in the Oak Ridge section of Route 23, you'd probably go down more toward the Willowbrook Mall. And it's just because of the way our topography and stuff is between all the mountains and hills and valleys. It just is not conducive to building anything where the two sides can actually come together.
Talking about your hills and valleys, one of the roads I didn't do, the name escapes me right now. It's the one that comes off of Howard Boulevard and goes all the way up. That one I did not dare to do. But I did a lot of my Unity Tour training, my hill training in Jefferson. Yeah, there's a lot of hills and valleys for sure. I can testify to that. So let me ask you this then. As mayor, what would you say were your three biggest accomplishments in your first and the beginning of this term?
So coming as mayor, again, being deputy chief and having experience in local government and stuff, the running of local government was the easy part. It was getting used to the political side of it, but coming into it, we had a lot of challenges. I would say probably one of my greatest accomplishments was when I came in office. The municipality really didn't have any forward planning. There was really no long-term planning. There was no capital plan, things of that nature. So I worked with my new administrator at that time, Debbie Milliken. We had a consultant at the time who worked with us, and we came up with a 10-year plan. And I'm very proud of that because that's our guiding document to bring us forward, into the future as far as, large scale capital projects, road paving and things of that nature. When I came in office, we were severely underspending, our infrastructure. And, again, if you want to sustain your businesses and things like that, and you want people to come here, you got to have, good roads and things like that. So we've really made the investment in our infrastructure, our roads and stuff like that. I also pride myself on, we don't have a newspaper that covers, as we know, newspapers are pretty much a dying breed. My forte in law enforcement was public information, and we used to have a weekly newspaper that everybody got in town. Now, who reads a newspaper anymore? So another challenge is how do I communicate to the masses? How do I get the word out? We barely had a working website and very little presence on social media, and I've completely revamped all of that. We do newsletters now, and we really utilize our social media and stuff. So that's been absolutely key. Although I had all these great plans when I came into office, quite a few things impacted us between a harmful algal bloom. A pandemic really wasn't in my go-to list. We had a historic snowstorm. We had a tropical storm that came through. I had a bridge over Route 15 that went out. So it was like one crisis after another. And I was like, boy, thank God I was a deputy emergency management coordinator for all those years and didn't get too rattled. But we were able to accomplish a lot, even despite all of those challenges. And I think the economic plan was definitely one of them. The trails development, getting the $1 million donation, private donation to do trails, I think is going to be a huge thing for Jefferson once we get that up and running as well. So that's just a few of the highlights.
All right, Mayor Eric Wilsusen, believe it or not, we're actually already out of time. It flies. I want to thank you for joining us on the show today and talking a little bit about, we kind of focused on Jefferson, and I really wanted to ask you more questions about what it's like to be a mayor. I think you touched on that, though, while you were giving your answers, in that you can make plans and you have this experience that you bring and you live there your whole life, yet still, crisis after crisis, it just upsets the apple cart and you find yourself scrambling. And I'm sure you're not the only mayor, whether you have the geography that you do or you had a city-type geography, everybody was dealing with problems. They may not have been the exact same issues from these problems, but they were problems. So I thank you for coming on today and sharing your knowledge and experience with myself and our viewers. And we'll have to have you come back to talk a little bit more about the other stuff that we didn't get to today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Heather. It was a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to see you. Take care, my friend.
You too.